When you think of the best gaming crossovers of all time, Nintendo definitely comes to mind as one of the best in the industry. You have legendary franchises such as Super Smash Bros., Mario Kart, Pokemon, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Tokyo Mirage Sessions, or should I say Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, as it was originally revealed as. Now, to be fair to Tokyo Mirage Sessions, the game is actually pretty good. It has an average review score of 80 on the Wii U and 81 on the Nintendo Switch. It's a solid turn-based RPG with some great mechanics, and I thoroughly enjoyed playing through on each system. But as someone who covered the game from the beginning, and also a big fan of both franchises it was supposed to be doing the crossover with when it comes to Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem, I can tell you from first-hand experience that the fans rejected this game when its final name and shape took form on that fateful day on April 1st, 2015. I think many took it as an April Fool's Day joke at first, but this wasn't a joke. It was real, extremely anime, and didn't resemble Shin Megami Tensei or Fire Emblem much at first glance. If you look at the original Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem trailer on January 23rd, 2013, it showed various Shin Megami Tensei characters epically displayed alongside Fire Emblem characters. It looked like a match made in heaven, with fans eagerly anticipating what characters will be playable, what style of game it will be, and what worlds we'll be traveling to between Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem. There's just so many diverse locations to pick from. Fans' minds went wild. But when you take a closer look at that debut trailer, you can clearly start to notice red flags. First off, this wasn't an actual trailer made with the in-game engine or models. It was simply previously used artwork from different Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem games with some quick backgrounds thrown in there and music over the top. There wasn't anything to show us this game was far in development or had a solid base to work from. And clearly Shin Megami Tensei characters were planned to be in the game, but that first trailer wouldn't have shown them like that. There was also various Fire Emblem characters that didn't make it into the game, while they used Fire Emblem Awakening's artwork to put together the trailer. Usually with a crossover of this size in these franchises, you would have something a bit more solid that represents the gameplay or style of the game if you had a solid direction. I personally feel at this point Nintendo was a bit desperate for games to show off at the time. Now you have to remember, this was 2013. The Wii U launched in holiday of 2012. And while it got off to a decent start, sales began nosediving fast in December. By January, sales had dried up substantially. I think Nintendo felt a lot of pressure to show fans they have some good games planned and coming to the Wii U. Nintendo received quite a bit of negative feedback in the press about the launch lineup of the first-party games for the Wii U just in general. The pressure was on. The January Nintendo Direct where Tokyo Mirage Sessions was originally revealed also first revealed a very early look at Xenoblade Chronicles X, which at the time was simply known as Monolith Soft X, their next game. With Xenoblade Chronicles X, you could clearly see a base game, ideas, concepts, gameplay. With Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, there was none of that. I think that was the first sign of trouble with this game, considering how Nintendo usually reveals projects and how they do things in the past. Gameplay has always been king. Nintendo has always made a point to show gameplay or gameplay concepts in debut trailers. Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem showed shifting PNGs in its first trailer. There was definitely something wrong with that. Now, to better understand what happened with the game, we need to kind of go back to where it all began. The chief director and game designer of the title was Mr. Wataru Hirata. At the time in 2011, Hirata was with Atlus making RPGs for over a decade, so this guy had plenty of experience. In a special art book for the game's original release, Hirata had this to say. I think it was in 2011 when I was first approached by someone saying, hey, there's going to be a collaboration with Fire Emblem. want to do it. If Nintendo first approached Atlus back in 2011 when they solidly made plans to make this game, the team really had no plans to put together something substantial for the first trailer. Safe to say there wasn't much of a game at that point. It's my personal opinion that Atlus struggled to make Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem characters work in a cohesive world. Not actually having Shin Megami Tensei characters was a big blow to the game and instantly zaps the appeal to fans. While Fire Emblem fans didn't fare much better getting weird shadow versions of Fire Emblem characters that kind of resembled the source material, but not exactly. Now listen, the optics were not looking good from a fan's perspective. Tokyo Mirage Sessions producer Shinjiro Takada added a bit more depth to the direction of the game, saying this: "One of the themes of Sharp FE is a serendipitous meeting. I think the starting place for this project, after all, was the question of what would happen if Atlus and Fire Emblem met in an alley. The title began development as a result of the energy and efforts of a lot of people who came together somewhat serendipitously." Based off of this, it's hard to say that the result of Atlus and Fire Emblem meeting in an alley would be an idol-based RPG. I mean, I thought it was supposed to be Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem meeting in an alley. And while that might sound a bit weird considering the final product, one thing you can say about the game is the battle system is anything but weird or awkward. It features an excellent battle system that fans of the Shin Megami Tensei games will feel right at home with. The game's battle director was Eiji Ishida, and he had this to say about the combat. "Looking back on this project, I think we've created something truly unique this time. Compared to what we've worked on in the past, this seems like something altogether different. But what do you think? Did you pick it up thinking this is exactly what you're after? If so, I would be very happy to hear that. Or did you pick it up thinking, might as well give this a shot? If so, I would certainly like to hear your impressions after you try it out." And I have to agree with Mr. Ishida here. The game's combat is probably the best aspect about the game, although I do love the music. It combines many classic aspects of typical Shin Megami Tensei battle system, but adds a bunch of cool layers of depth with the mirages, upgrading items, and more. This is something Atlus nailed, and still to this day, some gamers do see Tokyo Mirage Sessions as having one of the better battle systems in an Atlus-made game. The press turn battles where exploiting enemy weaknesses net you extra turns and damage works amazingly here. The amount of combat options and playable characters is quite vast, although scaled down from what you would see in a game like Persona 5 or Shin Megami Tensei 5. And the title features 7 playable characters, all with their own unique Fire Emblem mirages they can equip and upgrade. The 7 Fire Emblem mirages are Chrom, Sheeta, Kain, Thahara, Virion, Draug, and Navarre. The Switch version adds in extra playable characters as well, and a host of gameplay changes for a smoother experience. The bosses can be quite challenging on the hard difficulty, and while the dungeon design isn't the best, it still beats out games like Soul Hackers 2, which recently launched, and looks bland in comparison. Now, the Wii U version actually required the gamepad to play certain segments, despite being compatible with the Wii U Pro Controller. The Nintendo Switch version does lose some of that function with the map and the info on the Wii U gamepad, which was very nice, but allows you to not have to switch back and forth between the two controllers. And the added ability of complete portable play with the Nintendo Switch is a huge boost to this game's playability considering how much content is here. And the story is quite interesting as well, as you balance your life as a high school student, idol, and secret demon slaying extermination group. I found common links between titles like Persona and this game, and I feel like the developers were really trying to strike a balance between Persona and a completely new IP. While it would have been nice to have a bit more Fire Emblem storytelling mixed in, I guess there was only so much you can do considering how many influences this game was taking on, in addition to the setting. Now, the ending was quite satisfying, no spoilers here, and it's not like there was a cliffhanger where fans are demanding to know the end of the storyline in a future game. Although this game can be a bit over the top or annoying with some of its aesthetics or characters, I generally found the plot charming and cool to navigate. Quick warning to all my gamers out there who don't like subs, this game has no English voice acting or any other language outside of Japanese, so you will be reading most of the time if you can't natively understand Japanese. I'm guessing this was a cost-cutting measure, as the title wasn't projected to sell well based on the fan reception and pre-orders. There was also a little bit of a controversy with the censorship in the game, where some outfits were completely changed, and honestly, it was kind of ridiculous. That didn't help either with the perception of the game. And a single playthrough can run you around 40 hours, while completionists can spend upward of 60 hours or more with multiple difficulties and quality of life options. I highly recommend the Nintendo Switch version of Tokyo Mirage Sessions, although you can't go wrong with either version. Now, as many of you can already suspect or know, these drastic changes in style from any Shin Megami Tensei or Fire Emblem game caused just a bit of an uproar with fans. These fans didn't know how their hardcore RPG series that promised multiple characters from each of these universes turned into a bright, idol-esque RPG that has you singing and dancing your way to victory. Many fans opted to just not support the game at all, as it only sold 26,340 units in its opening week sales in Japan on Wii U. The game didn't fare much better in the States, never charting in the MPD. It was not seen as a sales success, which is why it was a bit surprising when Nintendo revealed the game was getting a Switch port on September 4th, 2019 at a Nintendo Direct. The Nintendo Switch version of Tokyo Mirage Sessions actually sold less in its first week of sales in Japan, only selling 19,607 units at retail. I think it's safe to say that the game was a commercial failure, and we'll never see another release in the franchise without some big changes, like maybe actually being Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. It didn't help that the game was originally released on the Wii U, as that system had trouble selling games just in general, but ultimately I think fans felt a bit duped or tricked with Tokyo Mirage Sessions. When Nintendo first revealed the game, they advertised a sick looking crossover where you'll be battling with Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem characters in the forms that we know and love, and the final product didn't quite reflect that visually. I think that's why fans shunned Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I also feel it taught Atlus and Nintendo a very valuable lesson on crossovers. If you're going to do one, you gotta give the fans nearly exactly what they're expecting, or things can go south for sales in a hurry, no matter how good the game is. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoy it, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next video. Peace.